A day begins at the University of Pennsylvania, as routinely as the sun rises over the quad. But for more than 13,000 students and the faculty, it's a day waiting to be made, from ingredients as diverse as a university's mission. By way of a composite, let's see what Pennsylvania makes of its day. First to catch the light of dawn is Franklin Field, where some early birds are working up an appetite for breakfast on Pennsylvania's new all-weather track. For today's busy students, time is where they can find it, even at sunup. To hundreds of patients in the university hospital, the sunrise means they're one day close. First class of the day begins on television. In homes throughout the Middle Atlantic area, men and women are tuning in the university's television seminar to hear the lecture that we see Dr. Joanna Williams taping in advance. Her subject is educational psychology, one of a series of courses offered several mornings a week. For a fee, home viewers can take exams and earn college credits watching TV. Courses have ranged from fundamental French and American history to communist political systems, taught by such gifted teachers as Dr. Williams, who has won a Lindbach Foundation Award for distinguished teaching. After breakfast, the campus comes alive. Students and faculty members head for classes, some of them in Steitler Hall in the new Social Sciences Center. A teacher teaching, students learning. The scene is being duplicated throughout the campus and in 100 fields. Dr. James B. Pritchard is a biblical archaeologist, the discoverer of such Old Testament cities as Gibeon, where Joshua tells us the sun stood still while his army routed the Amorites. This morning, in his role as a teacher, Dr. Pritchard shares his unique knowledge with an undergraduate class in religious thought, one of the most popular electives among today's students. From the world of Joshua to the world of affairs is a short journey between classes to America's first collegiate school of business. The subject here is political theories. The Wharton teacher, political scientist Cecil J. Burnett, Joe Burnett to alumni who knew him as a Pennsylvania football player in the 30s. Pennsylvania ranks among the top 4 universities as a producer of business executives, including women. Wharton has been coeducational since 1954. But a Wharton education isn't all business. The school is also noted for its work in government, sociology, economics, and regional science, and for its nationally important research. In science, Pennsylvania's hand has been strengthened by this new wing of the David Rittenhouse Laboratory, where Dr. Howard Brody is demonstrating to his physics class the laws of the conservation of momentum. The apparatus is an air track. The shuttles ride on a cushion of air, flowing from holes along the track. With no friction, the shuttles react freely to the laws governing the motion of bodies. Like most Pennsylvania teachers, Dr. Brody is also a research investigator, the faculty's way of teaching itself. A high-energy physicist, he helped discover the subatomic particle called F0. In a nearby lecture hall, freshmen are studying under a very senior professor. The president of the university, Dr. Gaylord P. Harnwell. Former chairman of the physics department, President Harnwell is among the many top scientists and scholars who enjoy teaching undergraduates. For today only, these police officers are university students too. They've come to the law school for a one-day course to help them understand recent Supreme Court decisions affecting the rights of the accused. Over a period of time, all 7,000 of Philadelphia's finest are being given this course, one of many university services to the urban community around it. In a weird, echoless room where the walls absorb any stray radiation, a research experiment is underway in the Moore School of Electrical Engineering. The cylinder represents a helicopter in flight, its radio tuned to a transmitter in the room. The problem, where best to place the antenna on an aircraft for top performance. Dr. Richard J. Doviak finds this anechoic chamber the nearest thing on Earth to the emptiness of the skies. In the University Placement Service, it's a day for bringing together students and jobs. To tap Pennsylvania's annual supply of ambitious graduates, 1,100 companies a year send interviewers to the campus. On a single visit, they can shop for talents ranging from advertising to zoology. At the peak of the season, there are 220 job interviews a day. The office serves alumni as well as students, helping about 400 a year find better positions. By now, it's the noon hour. Time for a break, time for a rest, and time to stoke up with more food for thought. With one idea, the university community swarms to cafeterias, fraternities, and the faculty club. That idea is lunch. In Hill Hall, a women's residence, is one of 15 university-operated dining rooms that serve 17,000 meals a day. Another is in Houston Hall, the nation's first student union. Hamburger and apple pie top the bestseller list. After lunch, time for basking in the sun. Catching up with the news, or just lolling on the fraternity house steps. In London, it's tea time, and there's a bit of Pennsylvania here, too. Today, in the United Hunts Club, 28 recent Pennsylvania students are having something of a reunion. All 28 are studying at British universities on Turan scholarships, awarded through Pennsylvania's Turan British American Exchange Program. They've been invited to a reception by the program's British Selection Committee, headed by Sir James Hutchison. The Turan program is like a two-way Rhodes Scholarship program, with all of the American scholars being chosen from one university, Pennsylvania. While these Pennsylvanians are toasting their hosts in Britain, 38 British students at Pennsylvania are preparing for afternoon classes. Back in Philadelphia, learning has many faces. Today, Dr. W. John Smith's class in Zoology 416, Animal Behavior, has come to the zoo to observe the social life and sign language of Catherine and Pinocchio, a gorilla and a chimpanzee. You can take notes with a camera. The zoo staff member, a graduate of the course, is exercising the animals and helping them learn to play together like a couple of socially adjusted children. But there's more to it than monkey business. Gorillas raised in captivity are usually kept apart because they tend not to develop the social instincts that enable them to get along together in the jungle. Dr. Smith hopes to show that their sociability can be developed by group experience, with people acting the part of other gorillas. Their communication system, based on a number of small gestures, is really quite complex. But when you ruffle a chimp's coat, all it means is that he likes to be tickled. Like the zoo, the Museum of Art is among the resources that make the university's location in Philadelphia an asset. This afternoon, Neil Welliver has brought his drawing class here to do some sketching. The young artists are liberal arts students looking toward graduate training in architecture. Twice a week, the class leaves its campus studio to sketch whatever is picturesque. Professor Welliver is a painter who has had one-man shows in major eastern cities. The future architects acquire an eye for form, space, and structure. And learn to communicate visually, as an architect must. Teaching and learning. The process goes on, indoors and out. For the inquisitive student, life in Philadelphia is an education in itself. The nation began at Independence Hall, a few hundred yards from where the university then stood. 9 Pennsylvania alumni and teachers signed the Declaration of Independence. Retracing their steps, these students have come from the campus to see the Liberty Bell. There's a place in the university's day for the Morris Arboretum. Located in the Chestnut Hill section, it's a field laboratory for botanical research. As a young Minnesota scientist, Dr. A. Orville Dahl helped develop the pollen count for hay fever sufferers. Now, as Arboretum Director, he presides over 175 acres of landscape and more than 5,000 species of trees, shrubs, and plants from many parts of the world. With such materials as these, scientists are probing the mysteries of life and growth. Back on campus, there's another kind of growth. Growing this day and every day is the physical fabric of the university. Here will be a center for economics, sociology, and regional science. On Hamilton Walk, where the study of life is carried from the scale of a cell to that of a hospital patient, the famous old medical school is being joined by a new teaching and research building, to be named in memory of a leader of the pharmaceutical industry. The Johnson Pavilion will take its place with $100 million worth of other facilities built on the campus since 1952. A science building is going up for the School of Dental Medicine, which has been named by the United States Public Health Service as a center for oral health research, one of only 5 in the country. A new wing is being added to James M. Skinner Hall, home of the Faculty Club, where many an educational advance has been conceived over lunch. For the performing arts, the Annenberg Center for Communication, Arts and Sciences will provide the Zellerbach Theater and 2 others on the site here being cleared. And a former university steam plant is being developed into a center for athletics and the ROTC, a memorial to Big Bill Hollenbach, one of Pennsylvania's all-time football greats. The interior has been rebuilt, and a wing has been added to provide home and visitors' team rooms and coaches and trainers' quarters for football, soccer, baseball, and lacrosse. What in the world is being delivered to the University Museum? Would you believe a submarine? Pennsylvania is the only university that has its own 2-man sub. Its name is Asherah, after a Phoenician sea goddess. Each summer, Asherah carries the University Museum's underwater archaeologists deep into the Aegean Sea off Turkey to photograph shipwrecks 2,000 to 3,000 years old. For the moment, she's a fish out of water. But she'll soon be back in her natural element, having come to spend the winter in the museum's fish pond. Easing the 4-ton baby sub into the pond is a little tricky, but she makes it. And archaeologist George Bass comes topside to declare the launching a success. A dash of flavor in campus life for 2 years has been this fence at the construction site of a new fine arts building. It has served the students as an emotional outlet, a vehicle of expression, an advertising medium, and a source of fun. For all of this, today marks the end. The new building is finished, and the campus newspaper, the Daily Pennsylvanian, is auctioning off the fence panel by panel. The bidding is spirited, and so is the auctioneer. Sold to the lucky bidder, who pays his money and claims his prize. The Fine Arts Building, with its studios and galleries, stands free at last of its plywood wall. And the students are joined in a check presentation ceremony by President Harnwell. The sale produces $450 for the Community Involvement Council. The wooden check is actually cashed by the bank against which it's drawn.
Assured sense of significance.
Some students' idea of fun is staying after school. Unlisted in any catalog, this gathering in the Madeira room of the School of Social Work is called an experimental seminar, one of 10 arranged by students. But it's really a high-level bull session. The leader is the dean of the school, Dr. John S. Morgan.
And then he makes this, which I think is worth remembering. As for nations and societies, they are remembered not for wealth, or for comforts, or for technologies, but for their great buildings, their works of art, their achievements in science or law or political philosophy, and their success in liberating human life from the shackles of fear and ignorance. Now, that's really
the theme of the seminar is, who really manages our affairs? After mental exercise, some students go for physical exercise in a new $3 million gymnasium. For divers, a springboard to health. Swimming coach George Breen, former U.S. Olympic captain, is grooming his team for a meet. A practice swim begins in the Olympic-sized pool. $375,000 gallons of water to turn around in. Coach Breen calls it fast water. The pool is divided by a submersible bulkhead into 2 pools, one 25 yards, the other 25 meters. In another room, a pickup basketball game is being contested as if a championship depended on it. This is a coeducational gym. It beats dieting. One of the most popular campus sports is squash. But others use squash courts for handball. Even exercise has been mechanized. Some like to swim, others prefer water in a frozen condition, Coach Jim Salphy is drilling the ice hockey team for Ivy League competition. The face-off. The rink is a borrowed one, but the university, with distinguished help from the class of 23, is about to build its own indoor rink for the whole campus community. Goal! Hockey is one of the fastest of college sports. It's also one of the most graceful. Elsewhere in the sports world, Mask and Wig is staging a bicycle race around College Hall to attract actors and dancers for its new show. But up to now, there's been more dealing than wheeling. They call this a Le Mans start. Bike racers go around in the best circles. The whole confusing event was inspired by the motion picture, The Great Race. Not a single racer was injured, but we almost lost a spectator. And we seem to have a winner. Well, you can't lose them all. In Irvine Auditorium, the event for which the bike race was a build-up. Tryouts for the 80th annual Mask and Wig show. The student hoofers learn their kicks, bumps, and grinds from veteran choreographer Walter Keenan. Off in the wings, young Barrymores are competing for speaking parts. The name of the show is All's Fair. Choosing the all-male cast are co-producers Steve DeBon and Steve Goff. We can now report that All's Fair has gone down in Mask and Wig history as another hit. Dinner time. Let's join the men in the Phi Kappa Sigma House. Pennsylvania has 33 undergraduate fraternities for men and 11 for women. 48% of all men students and somewhat fewer of the women are members. Many of them live as well as eat in their fraternity houses. Whether or not a student goes fraternity, he's in good company at Pennsylvania. After dinner, lights glow from the Van Pelt and Dietrich libraries and 1,000 or more student rooms, as the real work of the university builds to a silent crescendo, the powerful quiet of concentrated study. She has her choice of 2 million books. Thousands of reference works and periodicals help make the library a laboratory of scholarship. Pennsylvania's day never really ends. At the Flower and Cook Observatory near Paoli, a graduate student in astronomy is positioning a telescope for a long night's work. Other Pennsylvania astronomers are working in New Zealand, where the university is a partner in another observatory. The specialty of the house is double and variable stars. But tonight, we're studying an old friend. You don't really need a telescope to see the moon. But a 28.5-inch lens brings it a lot closer.
Oh, hey, says Jonas and a pitcher of beer. All right, that's one of the other. Give a pitcher one into the telescope.
Oh, here's to Jonas, fill up the tankard to sorrow's crown. Here's to friendship, here's to pleasure, fill up the tankard. And drink it down, and drink it down, and drink it down, oh. Fill up the tankard, and drink it down. Drink!
The Glee Club has just given a concert, and some of its members are unwinding at Smoky Joe's, a rendezvous for generations of Pennsylvanians. For the University of Pennsylvania, This day has been as wonderfully rich as the talents and capabilities of a modern university. Midnight will turn the page in Pennsylvania's diary to a new day, waiting to be made.